A couple of Russian YouTubers came out with what were supposedly benchmarks from an M4 powered MacBook Pro, full packaging, although the packaging looked like older packaging. So there's some dispute of it, but the figures pass merit. So right now, there's only CPU benchmarks out there. It does not look like there is anything related to the GPU or the NPU yet. I don't know if they're slowly trying to torture people on this to be able to tune in. I guess if you're a YouTuber, it's a smart thing to jack up your subs and views. But what it shows, nothing extraordinarily surprising. It does very well on the CPU with single-threaded scores, higher than AMD, Qualcomm, and Intel. By the way, the M3 performed well on single-threaded Geekbench as well as Cinebench. Where it gets, I guess, interesting here is multi-threaded benchmarks, Geekbench and Cinebench, and Apple got an extraordinary lift here, where, just to be brutally honest, they were somewhat of a, I mean, they were a complete laggard, right? You had Qualcomm and AMD pretty much running circles around the M3, and this score of 971 for Cinebench, AMD is still in the lead by a sizable margin. Go AMD. It's very similar to the Qualcomm X Elite. And what we know about the Core Ultra 288V, it shines mostly in single-threaded, but it gets hit pretty substantially because it's an 8-core solution versus 12 and multi-threading with AMD. So nothing surprising. I mean, I think for me, the MT scores were a lot better. And if I dial out, what does this mean? I think what it means is that AMD, Qualcomm, Intel are still very competitive. AMD still has superior multi-threaded performance. Apple does put some distance with Intel Core 7 Ultra Lunar Lake, and less distance. I mean, they're almost the same on Qualcomm, but it's what you would expect. Let's just say that customers are paying a $200, $300, $400 premium for this chip and this design over everything else. It better perform well, but I think it also shows the durability of Qualcomm and AMD designs. And the funny part is, you know, Qualcomm is ARM and AMD is x86. But hey, we'll have to see with the GPU. We're going to have to see the NPU. But just the fact we're talking about anybody else being in the zone with Apple, I think is a big freaking deal, because Apple has been running circles on the laptop side around everybody on the CPU side. And I think it's important too. Companies like Signal 65, one of our sister companies, gets in and does the hardcore testing to get underneath the reality.
Yeah, you hit the leaks in the data side. I just want to have a little fun with this, by the way, because, you know, the market perception is that Apple has this sort of ability to keep its launches and new products airtight. And over the years, it's gotten harder. And of course, in a connected world, I pulled up some data points, Pat, on this. They're saying that this was potentially the worst product leak since. Do you remember what happened with the iPhone 4?
Yeah. Legal got involved, investigators, police, all that stuff.
The prototype was apparently left in a bar in 2010.
Exactly.
So on that. You know, it said that that there's a rumor also that 200 of these units may have been stolen from a Chinese warehouse. That's one of the other rumors that's out there right now. and that it's obviously through they were selling them in the black market on Russian classified sites. I just thought that was super interesting, like how this happens. I mean, Apple has historically been incredibly good at containing this kind of stuff. Now, the fact of everything you said is interesting, but I think didn't it all kind of fall in line? Were there any surprises in these numbers to you?
I mean, the MT was a little bigger than I thought it would be. And by the way, ARM, the latest ARM instructions are definitely playing a role in this, although Apple won't give ARM credit. It should, but you're seeing a boost just because, just with ARM v9
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, the results are positive, and I think you hit it. We're going to need to, one, see this actually get launched. Two, we're going to need to put it in the lab and see how it compares. With all these advancements and these new AI PCs, Mac has sort of been on the outside. Like, no one's really been counting it in, and maybe it needs to be. So, of course, when it comes to these ARM-based, they were first. They were first to do it, and they were first to show, and you and I saw from M1 to M2, the generational improvements. Pat, you had some of the best documentation in the world on how crap the M1 was, but they did figure it out, and they did sort it out quickly. And, by this next version, it looks like it's going to be pretty darn compelling.